Hello everyone, hope everyone's doing good. I'm about to head over somewhere to get some better lighting or get some better shade and shit for me to post. This is gonna be on the DMX shit. So Hassan has posted some content. You know, almost everyone has tried to post some shit on this, but I want to try and pose it in a different light, a real different light. So DMX is in a vegetative state. He's been on life support. He has not been taken off life support. So pretty much he's done, right? Let me put a disclaimer for everybody. If you want to put prayers up, I understand everybody. They did some sort of vigil yesterday for him around 5 p.m. outside of White Plains Hospital. The probability of him having the same awareness cognitively that he did before this heart attack is slim to none. So here's a disclaimer. That nigga's pretty much dead. If you want to talk about in terms of how I view consciousness and shit, he's already dead. That man's really not living. He's going to be in a state where people are going to have to constantly be covering him, constantly be over him, constantly monitor him, because the basic functions in his life he's unable to do. He can't do that shit anymore, right? So that's out the picture. That nigga it's gone. It's kind of a rest in peace, because who he is, his brain, his mind, his consciousness, who he is, his concept of who he is, he's unable to interact with the world, right? People are unable to interact with him. They're unable to get his perception of reality because what is going on, the problems that occurred out of that stroke and all that shit. So that's a done. So that's done. Y'all want to say on your knees about all this. Now, Hassan did go over part of the idea, right? Part of the shit. Yeah, you want to get mad at DMX, but what about the nigga who was selling him the drugs? I totally agree. There's a level of accountability of people who are on drugs, and I don't agree with everything that he stated, but regarding problems in the black community, and an example of this, where like your role models, they end up inducting your child into being a gangbanger, they end up inducting your child into being a drug dealer, all shit like that. I agree with that line of thinking that Hassan was going down. That, you know, even though you want to blame DMX, blame the nigga who was with him, blame the niggas who had the drugs and they gave it to him. You know, pay attention to your circle before they hurt you. I agree with that, right? Because if he really had friends or had niggas who were druggies, they were only around him to take from him. They weren't around him to support him, to benefit him. Because if they were in support of him, they would have known the struggle that he's constantly dealt with pertaining to drugs. Why, if that's your nigga, are you doing drugs with him? That's not your friend. You are just an, what is it called? A user, a selfish, you're a leech. That's what it is. Nigga has some money for drugs, you whatever. You didn't prioritize in that transaction with him his life. That wasn't the thing. It was the drugs and the concept of being around him when you're on drugs. It had nothing to do with you caring about him. So I do agree with like that line of thinking. That's definitely like an easy thing, one thing that we can definitely get cleared out. Another thing though is the level of accountability on his end, because I think that what Hassan was trying to do is, or let me say, my interpretation of what he was putting out pertaining to him was that it's more about the larger scale and all that. But I want to look at this from another perspective. Let's say someone has mental illness. Yes, there is a level of accountability on people around them, and it can't be controlled, and these things are not choices. But even if you're a person who has mental illness, even if you are diagnosed with something, there is a level of accountability that you have on yourself to make that choice. Now, we're not going to go into the extremes like you're schizo or something and you can't prevent that. I mean, engaging in really negative behaviors over and 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 over again without the help. It doesn't matter what amount of help that you get. It doesn't matter what amount of help that you get, okay? If you do not take that help and decide to run with it, you're on your own. The psychiatrist is not there with you all the fucking time. Check out my other shit on mental health and all the shit that I posted, because it's kind of the same thing. right? Your boss isn't, they're fucking, they're not around like that, you know? This is not how things run. Your psychiatrist, none of these people are gonna be around you. At the end of the day, if you're having some fucking mental episode in the middle of the fucking night, they're not gonna fucking run to you. That's not gonna happen. They're not gonna fucking do all that. What's gonna happen is you're gonna be on your own and you're gonna have to figure out some tools to cope with that shit, right? There's a level of accountability that this dude had throughout the entire thing, okay? Throughout the entire thing, years on years and years. Yeah, a nigga gave him a lace blunt or all that shit. Okay, that's understandable. That's totally understandable. That is. But through how many stages of DMX's life, as a millionaire, did he take a step back and say, yeah, I gotta figure out my circle. I gotta figure out what I'm doing. I gotta figure out my short-term, medium, long-term goals. I gotta figure out what things I'm not going to do to extend my well-being. Let's branch this out. Let's explode this concept a little bit, okay? Let's explode this shit, all right? When you are going through life, okay, there are different types. There are always gonna be people who drain your energy. There are always gonna be people who don't fuck with you because they genuinely fuck with you. There are gonna be people who only fuck with you because of the shit you do for them. If you are unable to catch these people, you're gonna end up in a situation many times to where you're fucked. Niggas put you in other situations and you think it's gonna be better for you to diffuse it. The reality is there's a level of accountability that you do have. As you grow older, as you become wealthy, as you become all these things, there are more and more people who are going to try and take from you. You think DMX the first nigga who got a bunch of money and been on drugs as a black person? No, he's not. Do you think that DMX is the first person to be an individual who makes a shitload of money who didn't before? They end up being a celebrity, they end up being popular, they end up being a multi-millionaire, and they end up being a drug addict? No, he's not. Tons of white people have been through it. Tons of white people have blown their money on clothes and shit, and then they end up filing for fucking bankruptcy. How many of those people did you see from the secret lives of secret housewives of whatever, or who may have been part of some fucking mafia family or some shit? All of a sudden they got no money. All that extravagant shit that was going on, all the people they were trying to impress, all the transactions that they were engaged in with different people, they thought it was fulfilling them, but the reality it wasn't. The niggas you were fucking with, they never cared about you. They like what you gave them. They like in that transaction, there wasn't any genuine thing going on. It wasn't reciprocated. Or what they valued prioritized you. So even, yeah, you got a friendship experience with them. How are you gaining that friendship experience? In that instance, you're gaining a fucking friendship experience because y'all are doing drugs together. You got a friendship experience because y'all going out all weekend and drinking. You got a friend experience with that motherfucker because every day and every time y'all have a chance, y'all blowing money on whatever. You're going on a trip, but damn, how about that money you wanted to save what about that money you wanted to save to go on a trip or to save for your family? Whose fault is that? That ain't nobody else's fault. I mean, what? There is a level of accountability he needs for himself. As you get older, this is what you're gonna have to realize. The world takes from you. You come in this, I don't wanna sound like a doomer and shit. I don't wanna do all that. But you come into this world alone, you will die alone. Every single relationship that you have is transactional, okay? You must be aware of the framework that justifies why you are in this fucking transaction with somebody. You being around one of your niggas and y'all having fun on drugs is not the move. It's not even regular drugs. And this nigga's on crack. This nigga's not even regular shit. These things, these are not things that should be like taken into account. These are not things that should be done. These are not genuine transactions because y'all are both fighting to the bottom. And, you know, I just wanted to give show like another side of that, you know, what people are talking about. I haven't really seen people try to, I mean, I guess Hassan is talking about it to an extent, because of your circle before they hurt you, but, you know, that's more centered around black people. Just in general, be aware of the reason why niggas are fucking with you. It's a shame. But again, as I said, that nigga's done, bro. There's nothing, there's not, unless Jesus came down and healed this nigga, unless this nigga reversed time, he's not going to be able, he's not going to be in the same state that he was before he had that stroke. And there were multiple times, Kanye, all these times, DMX is one of the greats of hip hop. How much could that man have accomplished had he not felt for drugs? How many times did he end up having friends who didn't make an effort to help him when he was going through some drug episodes? How many times? How many times was he alone? How many niggas in all of these Rough Rider videos? How many of his niggas were right there before smoking crack blunts with him? How many people were there before telling him, my nigga, you gonna have to stop that, homie. If we're gonna be around you, we gonna make this money, you gotta stop. How many people were doing that? Nah, it's the ride now. Interesting about New York is a lot of people who still have that Rough Rider gear. A Rough Rider was a biker gang or whatever. I don't know the file history, but they got an entire history of just fucking being bike riders and shit. Some of these niggas were part of his crew. What were they doing to be a part of Rough Riders? You repping it now, but what the fuck did it turn into? It turned into a lot of bullshit. Cause some of these niggas living decent lives. Where he end up? How he end up that way? You know? But watch your circle. Be careful of the interactions you're just in, period. Most people most likely don't give a fuck about you, so be careful of that. Like, comment, subscribe, check my other shit, mental health, all that shit. Love you all. Be safe. COVID. GG.